and welcome to Vinyasa for Backbends. Today we will be focusing on backbends such as Ustrasana or Camel Pose, or as well as Natarajasana or Dancer's Pose. In terms of props, you might like a couple of blocks just for things like floor-based twists. I love them just for a little extra range, as well as stepping from a down dog to a lunge. We've got a few of those. You may like a folded towel or blanket to pop on your mat to cushion under our knees, because we will be doing some work kneeling. And you may also like a strap or a cord or something, because we're going to be reaching back to catch the foot. And if that's something that feels like a bit of a reach for you, sometimes having that extra arm length with a strap or a tie or something can be really nice. Of course, if you don't have that handy, we can make do without, so please don't stress. Let's begin today prone. So that means lying on your belly. And make yourself comfortable, especially if you feel a little bit crunchy in the lower back. It can be nice to take your rolled up blanket or towel and pop it under the hips just to kind of lengthen out the lower back a little bit. In terms of your arms, you might like to have them, checking my microphone is on there, you might like to have them stacked under your forehead, fists, whatever really works. You can always turn a cheek to the side as well. I really like starting lying on the belly. It's such a nice way to bring attention to the breath. So just allow your whole front body, every part of you that touches the mat, to be heavy on the floor. That's nice. And again, if you get that crunchy feeling in the lower back, you can support or lift under the hips, but also take your feet a little bit wider. And as you start to lengthen and slow down your breath, you might notice your front body pressing down into the mat as you breathe in. Softening as you breathe out. With your next few inhales, perhaps bringing some attention into the back body and feeling like you can expand the space between your shoulder blades, expand your lower back into the space around you as you breathe in, and allow it to soften as you breathe out. And as we lay here softly nurturing this breath, just a gentle reminder that we don't need to reach our best, biggest, deepest back bend today. As with any yoga class, working within the parameters that feel medicinal and feel beneficial for you. We never need to push through feelings of pain or pinchiness or soreness. Just holding yourself and moving with logic and compassion. Continuing with that beautiful slow breath. If they're not already there, wiggle your feet about hip distance, maybe even a little wider apart, and bend your knees so your feet come straight up in the air. Pretending your shins are windshield wipers, begin to rock your feet from side to side. Just kind of feeling the hips, or like your thigh bones rotating in the hip sockets. Maybe a little bit of movement in the lower back as well. And just getting in the habit of keeping that slow, rhythmic, deliberate breath, even as you get moving. Keep that as an anchor within your practice. It's always something that you can come back to, but let it be one of the fundamentals, one of the foundations of your asana practice, that beautiful conscious breath. That's your home base. A few more rocks from side to side. It feels so nice. I could do this for the whole class, but I won't. Bring your feet through center and then pop them back down on the floor, tops of the feet on the floor. You have to lift your head, look slightly forward, slide your hands
kind of under your shoulders or beside your rib cage, just taking some baby cobras. So gently press the hands into the mat, magnetize your elbows together and lift the upper body just a little bit. Pull your shoulder blades together, broaden your collarbones, just feeling like you're bringing a little tiny bend into your upper back, and then we melt it down. Now, apologizing if you can hear the click clacking outside. It's a windy day here. There's stuff blowing around. Lift up for a baby cobra and lower down. Lift it up. Lower down. The last time I came to film at this beautiful seaside yoga studio, there was a surf rescue helicopter landing outside. It was so loud. Lower down. One more, just gentle movement into that upper back, encouraging some fluidity. Next time you lower down, pause there. Take your right arm and take it up overhead, palm to the floor, like you're making half of the letter Y. So it's reaching up and out at a diagonal. Moving into a pec stretch, but maybe not a full pec stretch. Just for a big, long inhale breath, press the left hand to the floor and just peel your left side body away from the floor, encouraging a little bit of stretch on that right side chest, your right pec. Breath in, we lift up. And breath out, we roll back down. Move your right arm out to the side like you're making half of a T, palm to the floor. Breathe in, just rolling onto the right side body, little pec stretch. And down. And final one, bring that right hand kind of so it's pointing diagonally down, opposite of your Y. Roll over. So we're stretching all fibers of that pec muscle. It kind of fans out. Let's move to the left. Bring your right hand to the floor beside the rib cage. Make half a Y, reaching up on a diagonal. Roll over, gentle stretch. Breathe in. Breathe out. Reach that left arm out to a T, 90 degrees beside you. Roll. Stretch. Onto the belly. And then bringing that hand down so it's diagonal, kind of reaching to the bottom left-hand corner. Little pec stretch, beautiful. Opening up the front body in preparation for some back bends. Pull that hand in. Come back to a little baby cobra. Think about lengthening your lower back. Squeeze your glutes. Point your tailbone to the back of your knees. Firm your lower belly. You've got a strong foundation there. Tops of the feet press into the floor. Little baby cobra. Lift the upper body, broaden the collarbones. Now lift your hands. Reach your hands overhead. Float your left hand to reach by the left hip and then reach that right arm up and across. You can look over the left shoulder. I like to think of this like a Superman looking over his shoulder. Reach both hands up and overhead. Right hand down by the hip. Look over that right shoulder. Little reach with the left hand. One more each side. Come back through center. Little side bend. What's going on back there? Back through center. And woo, my whole back body is lighting up right now. Reach through center, hands come to the floor. Oh my goodness, come to a child's pose. Hands and knees, big toes together. Let's bring the knees apart. Sit back towards the heels. Reach your arms out in front of you. Oof, relax the upper body. You can rest your forehead on the floor if it feels good. Now take your left hand and start to reach it down towards your left foot or ankle, and then just wiggle your right hand across the mat so we get a nice side bend. Again, you can look over that left shoulder, thinking about lots of space in that right side body. I love doing lots of side bends in preparation for back bends. And let's take it to the other side. Swoop your hands to swap it over. Right hand to right heel, left hand reaches across the mat over to the right side. Look over the shoulder if it feels good. And bring it all back through center. Settle your hands in front of you on the mat and come to a tabletop. Make a happy cat shape with your spine. Turn your tailbone up to the ceiling. Draw your heart between your biceps. Beautiful work. I like to call this a happy cat, but this is really our cow pose. Send your hips back toward your heels. Think of this as kind of a child's pose. And then tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone, round your back as you lift up, float your shoulders over your wrists. This is what I call an angry cat or our cat pose. Thinking about a liquid fluid spine as you come through that happy cat shape, arch your back. Child's pose, kind of neutral spine. Round the back, bring it back to that angry cat shape. Now melt all those poses together. And think a nice liquid fluid spine as you roll through all these shapes. And you can sneak a little bit of a wrist warm up into this. As you come through that angry cat shape, spread your fingers, press them into the floor. Can you float your shoulders over your fingertips a little bit? And then relax it back. Keep it going. Let's do 2 more rounds. Liquid fluid spine, just getting everything moving, working. And then the next time you come up through that angry cat shape, pause. Neutral spine, maybe step your hands out slightly. We come up into our first downward facing dog. Lift the hips up and back, lengthen the legs. If your legs want to stay bent, keep them bent. Let's take a few wiggles here just to find this shape. So everyone is put together different. And we all need different moves to wiggle ourselves into this shape. So you might be rocking your hips from side to side like me. You might be pedaling out your feet. You might be pressing your chest backwards and forwards. Kind of tune into your body and be like, hey body, what do we need today? You might be standing completely still. Let's take a few more wiggles here and then come to stillness. From your still down dog, press into your left foot, lift your right foot up along behind you, 3-legged dog. Gaze forward and bring that right foot through to step to the outside of your right hand, lizard pose. Kiss your back knee down to the floor and support underneath it if you need. This is a good opportunity to use blocks under the hands if you like. I'm going to for this first round so you can see what that looks like. Hands to the floor. Let's floss the hips a little bit by bringing the hips forward and down, bent knee, gaze forward. And then send the hips back, lengthen out the front leg. Lunge forward. Send it back. Lunge forward. Send it back. Lunge forward and then pause. Press down into your left hand, circle your right hand up. This is a time where you might grab onto your strap if you want to use it. Start to bend into the left knee and either loop your strap around that foot and give it a gentle 1% pull, or you can catch the foot. Thinking quad stretch in that left front thigh. Pause here for 3, 2, and 1. Release the foot. Hands come back to where they were. Lengthen out the front leg. You might draw the hands back slightly so they're underneath the shoulders. Twisting once more, press into left hand, reach right hand up. And then think bicep by the ear, palm facing to floor, reach that arm overhead. Lift the rib cage. Pause here for 3, for 2, for 1. Reach the right hand back up to the ceiling. Keep going with that motion. Circle both hands, kind of like you're doing a backstroke, and lift them up to the ceiling. So your upper body follows. You're standing up tall, balancing on the left shin with the right leg extended. Now tuck the left toe. So you're lifting your heel a little higher, or you can settle a block high level to the outside of the heel. Wherever you are, start to reach your left hand back behind you. Settle it down on the block or settle it down on your heel. Lift the right hand up, squeeze your left glute, half camel, half Ustrasana or Ardha Ustrasana. Pause here for 3, for 2, for 1. Lift up, cartwheel the hands back to where they were. Lunge forward, lizard pose.
And let's move into a downward facing dog on the other side. Lift the back knee, step it back, down dog. You can keep your hands on these blocks if it feels good, or move them. Take a wiggle and then settle into stillness. Press down into the right foot, left leg lifts. Breathe in. Step your left foot forward, lizard pose on the other side. It comes to the outside of the left hand. Kiss the back knee down, lunge forward, and we floss. Send it back, straighten, lengthen the left leg, a little or a lot. Bend, straighten. Bend, straighten. Lunge it forward, pause. Left hand reaches up, grab your strap if you're using it. Bend the right knee, reach back, catch it with the strap, catch the foot, whatever works for you. Pause here for 3, for 2, for 1. Release, back foot comes to floor, left hand comes to floor or block. Straighten out the front left leg. Drag the hands so they're underneath the shoulders. Once again, press to right hand, lift left hand up, twist. Think palm to floor, bicep to ear. Reach that left arm up overhead. Big side body lengthening on that left side for 3, for 2, for 1. Circle the arm. Both arms reach up to the ceiling. Find your balance. Now tuck the back toes on the right side, or take a block to the outside of the ankle. Reach the right hand behind you. Bring it to your block or to your heel. Press the hips forward. Press the heart to the ceiling. Think left bicep by left ear. Pause here for 3. Ardha Ustrasana, half camel, 2, 1. Bring both hands back to the floor or to the blocks. Lunge it forward. Think hands underneath the shoulders. It might be a nice time here to lose those blocks. A little different this time. Lift up on the back knee and step that foot to the front of the mat. Wiggle both your feet together, hands outside. Bend the knees generously, ragdoll pose. So your belly might touch your thighs. You might grab your elbows. Take a big breath in and out. Allow the back of the neck to be long. Release the elbows, roll your way up to stand. And we'll work our way through some sun salutations and into our main flow. Hands come down by the sides, Tadasana, working our way through Surya Namaskar A with a little bit of a back bend here. Inhale, reach the hands up, squeeze your glutes, firm your lower belly, lengthen your lower back, lean back as much as it feels good. Lift your heart to the ceiling. Inhaling here. Exhaling, fold it forward and down. Woo. Palms to shins or fingertips to floor, halfway lift. Hands to the floor, step or hop your way back to a push-up position, plank pose. Breathe in. Breathe out, elbows in close, lower all the way down to the floor. Inhale, baby cobra, maybe a little bit higher. Squeeze those glutes. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're here for 3 breaths. Just acknowledging that instead of a downward facing dog, you're always welcome to take a tabletop instead. Generally, you can do most of your 3-legged dog, step back, step through, step wherever from your tabletop if this isn't suiting you. A final round of breath in and out here, long spine, bend the knees if it feels good. Come up high on tippy toes, bend knees, gaze forward. Hop or step your way to the top of the mat, halfway lift once you get there. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, sweep the hands around and up to the ceiling. Exhale, hands come down in front of the heart. Getting ready to do that all again, maybe with a chaturanga to up dog this time. Inhale, reach up, back bend. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, long spine, halfway lift.
Exhale, hands to floor, plank. Take a full breath in your plank. Hold it here, no need to rush. Exhale, long and low and slow. Let's chaturanga, float off the floor if it feels good. Belly to floor if that feels better. Inhale, up dog or baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Ready to move into our main flow. Let's take a big round of breath here. Press into your left foot, lift your right foot up, three-legged dog. Pause. Bend the right knee and lift the knee to the ceiling like you're trying to boop yourself on your left ear with your right foot. Scorpion. Inhale. Exhale. Step your right foot between the hands. Give it a little help forward if it needs. Find your balance. Reach your hands forward and up. Squeeze especially your left glute. Lengthen your lower back. Bend the back knee if it helps. Back bend it here. Maybe you cactus the arms. Lift your heart, your gaze to the ceiling. Come back to that high lunge. Arms reach straight up. Pivot on the back left toes. Arms to a T. Warrior two. So my hips and heart open to the long left side of my mat. Back toes point to the long edge of my mat. Arms to a T. Bending front elbow, it can touch down or even hover just slightly off that front knee. Top arm reaches up and over. Just for a moment before we exalt our warrior, come back through that warrior two shape. Back hand to back thigh, right hand lifts to ceiling. Beautiful work. Cartwheel both hands down to the floor, either side of your front foot. Step back to the top of a push-up, and we move through a vinyasa. Lower down slowly, chaturanga or floor. Inhale, upward facing dog or baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. A big breath in. Long breath out. Same leg, we lift the right leg up, three-legged dog. Bend at the knee, scorpion pose. Can you lift the knee to the ceiling? Reach the right foot toward the left ear. Now put lots of weight in your left foot and left hand. Can you come up onto the fingertips of the right hand? Can you float the right hand? Take a breath wherever you are. Pop the right hand back flat on the floor. Look forward. Step your right foot up between the hands. We are still on the same side. Kiss your back knee down to the floor, low lunge. Sweep the hands forward and up. We're on the left knee. Half camel, once again, tuck the back toe. Swoop the left hand to reach for the left heel, or perhaps you're taking your block on a high level to the outside of the ankle and reaching for your block. Reach the right hand up to the ceiling, squeeze your glutes, press your hips forward, press your heart upward. Think right bicep by right ear. Pause, 3, 2, 1. Circle both hands down by the sides. Lift the back knee, tilt the torso forward, arrowhead pose. Bring the hands to the heart. Half mountain by pressing into the right foot. Stand up tall, pull the left knee to the chest. Put your right palm on your chest. Take your left hand and grab the left foot. Now you can loop it with a strap if that feels better. We come to a quad stretch here. So think knees together, tucking the hips under, pressing the hips forward by squeezing the glutes. Pause here for 3, 2. Now on 1, solidify this shape. Use your left hamstrings to keep your left foot as close to your left butt cheek as you can. Bring both hands to the heart, hold it there. 3, 2, 1. Big long step back, arrowhead pose. Bring both hands down to the floor and we step back to the top of a push-up. Lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog.
Let's take 3 or 5 rounds of breath here. We are switching sides now. So this is a great opportunity if you need a moment for a child's pose, a tabletop, or even just sitting on your heels and resting. Or you're in that downward facing dog. Wherever you are, this is a moment of stillness, a moment to return to that home base, that rhythm of breath. A final round of breath in and out before we get moving again. If you're not there already, meet us in the downward facing dog. Press hard into the right foot, left leg lifts up. Exhale, left foot steps forward between the hands. Inhale, high lunge. Squeeze your glutes, firm the lower belly. Tuck the hips under, long lower back as you cactus the arms. Lean it back, back bend as much as feels nice. Reach it up. We turn to our warrior 2. Back foot pivots, lunge into that front leg. So my belly button, my chest face the long right hand side of the mat. Bend front elbow, side angle pose, reach up and over. Straight away, circle, exalted warrior. From your exalted warrior, both hands cartwheel down to the floor, either side of your front foot. And we move into a Vinyasa. Step both feet to the back of the mat. Plank. Prepare. Don't rush. Lower down low and slow. Inhale, back bend. That's your baby cobra or your up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift the left leg. Now we forgot to scorpion on this side, so let's make up for that right now. Bend the left knee. Lift the knee to the ceiling. Can you boop yourself on the right ear with your left foot? If you can, that's amazing. Now, as we do this, we might hold it just for a few seconds longer on this side to make up for it. Can you put heaps of weight into your right hand and right foot? Can you get light on your left fingertips? Can you tent the hand? Can you lift the hand completely? Pause for 3, 2, 1. Both hands come back to the mat and step your left foot through. Help it forward if it needs. Kiss the back knee down to the floor. Reach your hands forward and up, low lunge. Pick your option of tucking the back toe, reaching for the heel, or we're going to use that block on its high level. Circle your right hand down to the heel or down to your block. Roll the chest open, pull your shoulder blade, especially your right shoulder blade, onto the back. Squeeze the glutes, press your hips slightly forward, lean it back. Lift your chest. Now, if this doesn't work for you, hand to hip, lift it up. Hold for 3, for 2, for 1. Cartwheel both hands back either side of that front foot. Arrowhead pose by lifting the back knee, shooting the hands either side of you, tipping the torso forward. Hands come to the heart. Half mountain by standing strong into the left leg, pull the right knee to the chest. Left palm to the heart, reach down with your hand or your strap, loop it around the right foot, quad stretch. Pause here for 3, lengthen the lower back. 2, squeeze your glutes. 1, use your muscles to bring both hands to the heart, keep pulling that heel to your butt. 3, 2, 1. Big step back, lunge, hands to floor, Vinyasa. Step to the top of a push-up. Lower down. Inhale, baby cobra, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. We have one final standing flow to go. You may like to take a moment in your tabletop or child's pose, or we are here in our downward facing dog. Wherever it is, it's a round of breath. If you're not in your down dog already, meet us there. Press hard into your left foot. Lift the right leg up, three-legged dog. Scorpion that leg. If you chose to, on your last one, you might get light on the right fingertips, lift it up completely. If you're there lifting that hand, you might begin to start stepping your floating right leg behind you. It'll probably come off the mat. Press hard into your feet, squeeze your glutes, lift your hips, and do whatever you like with that right hand. You might be reaching it kind of sideways, or you might really open the chest to the ceiling, make this more of a back bend. You're in your wild thing. Pause where you're here, pause where you're here, pause where you are. You might still be in your three-legged dog or scorpion for 3, 2, 1. Look to your top left hand. Come out of your wild thing. Step your right foot forward. Come to your arrowhead pose. Both hands shoot beside the hips, torso tips forward. Find your balance here first and take a moment. Now, as you bring lots of weight into your front standing right leg, reach your right hand forward and step your left leg into your hand. Now, if you're using the strap, go for the strap. You might stay right here in this version of a dancer's pose. If you feel like you've got a little bit more to give, take your hand to the big toe inside edge of your foot. You can also do this with the strap, so the elbow points outwards. Press, kick your foot into your hand, lift your heart, look forward. You might reach the arm up, you might reach it forward. Pause for 3, 2, and no slingshotting, as slow as you can. Release the foot. Take a really big, long, slow motion step back to a lunge. Whew, beautiful work. Step both feet to the back of the mat, plank pose, and pause. Strong body, lower both knees down to the floor. Tuck the toes if you like. Roll up, so tuck your hips. Unfurl your way to kneeling. Now, options. Actually, we'll do options on our next round. Follow me here. You might support under the knees with a folded blanket or towel. Reach your hands up to the ceiling. Tuck your hips under, firm your lower belly. You're long through the lower back, strong through the glutes and hamstrings. Hip extension. And now, with that strong foundation, spinal extension. Cactus your arms. Start to lean back. Press your hips forward. Lift your heart. Pull your shoulder blades together. How far can you lean back while you still feel safe and in control and strong in this back bend? 3, 2, moving slowly on 1, releasing hands down to the floor, tabletop pose, pause, take a breath. Tuck the toes under if they're not already. Long lower back, strong belly, float the knees up off the floor. Bear pose, 3, 2, and 1. Kiss the knees down, take a child's pose. Whatever form of child's pose works for you. Woo. A moment to neutralize the spine here before we take the other side. Now let's take our palate cleanser, our Vinyasa, before we move to the other side. Look forward between your hands, plank pose. Float shoulders over wrists, strong body. Breathe in. Lower down, floor or chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Are we ready for the other side? Lift your left leg up in the air. Left leg up in the air. Bend the knee, scorpion. Pause here if you like it here. Stay exactly where it works for you. Can you get light on the left fingertips? Can you lift? If you've got that lift, if you want to take your wild thing, I don't have room, I'm touching the wall. Let's see if I can rearrange. Start to step your left foot behind you. It might come off the mat. Lift your hips and reach your arm. It might be more of a side bend for you, or you can really rotate your heart to the ceiling for a back bend. Wild thing. Pause where you are for 3, 4, 2, 1. Look forward past your right hand. I like to swoop the elbow or the arm, step the left foot forward. Arrowhead pose. Take a moment to find your balance. Start to reach the left hand forward, right hand back, step into your dancer's pose. With the strap or with your hand, catch that right foot.
You might catch the outside, or you might flip your grip to come to the inside, big toe tight side of the foot. Lift the knee. Use your strong back muscles to lift that leg up. Dancer's pose for 3. Natarajasana, 2. No slingshotting, slowly release. Woo. Find a lunge, and both hands come straight down to the floor. Step into your plank, pause. Gently kiss the knees down to the floor. Different options this time. You might tuck the toes to lift the heels, or you might take both blocks outside of the ankles for a little bit of more reach. And sometimes those blocks, they just create extra space so you can find more expression or space in your back bends, which I think is a great thing. So you may choose to stick with that active mobility, your cactus back bend. You might choose to gently place your hands, fingers facing down on your lower back. That can really help with proprioceptive kind of tilting the hips under, which helps with the hip extension to find more of a back bend. You might start there with the hands on the hips, and then maybe step one hand down to a block or a heel. Now you can stick with one hand at a time, switch over as you like, or you might go both hands. Wherever you are, press your hips forward, pull your shoulder blades together, lift up. If rocking the head back feels good for you, you can do that. You do not have to do that. You can keep chin tucked to chest. Personally, that feels so much nicer on my neck. Pause wherever you are. Your Ustrasana, Camel Pose. 3, 2, and on 1, I like to do one hand at a time. Reach forward, come out of it. Hands to the floor. First, neutral tabletop. Tuck toes, float knees. Keep the belly strong. Bear pose. 3, neutral spine. 2, 1, kiss knees down, big toes together. Sit it back, child's pose. Wow, that's nice. Now I love having my forehead stacked on top of my fists. You might prefer to have your hands down by the sides or in front of you. Something I also really like is having my knees and my feet quite wide and then just reaching my hands in between the knees, resting the head. If it's something you use, you might just like to switch your cheeks one side to the other as you do this. This reminds me of being a little kid. I also work in early nap. Yeah. From whatever version of child's pose that you've got going. Let's take a final vinyasa plank pose. Lower down, slow chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now start to tippy toe, or you can hop, float, step your feet up behind your wrists, hip distance. Bend your knees generously. Take a rag doll. Nice floppy forward fold. Bend your knees a lot. Maybe your belly's on your thighs. Grab your elbows. Long back of the neck. Release those elbows. Press into the feet. Unfurl. So think tucking hips and then just stacking. Tailbone, sacrum, lower back, mid back, upper back, shoulders, head comes up very last. Heel toe your feet out once, twice, so your toes are pointing outwards. Hands can come to the floor to help you, or they can come to the heart. Malasana, nice low squat. You can also take your block or blocks underneath your butt here for a little bit of support. Or if it feels all right for you, you can allow your butt just to hang towards the heels. Just thinking of that decompression, that lengthening of the spine here. Also, if your heels kind of pop up off the ground as you do this, that's totally fine. And if you're comfortable balancing here, also totally fine. But another option is to take your blocks on their low level
and just jam it nicely under the heels, and then you can really like allow your heels to rest down on something, and that can be really nice. It just means that your ankles don't quite have the range to get heels to floor, and that is not a bad thing. It means you have nice, sturdy connective tissue, so congratulations. Now, if you are comfortable to do so, reach your hands forward to counter your weight and gently touch your butt to the ground. Pull your knees in front of you, float the feet. If that's not for you, you might bring your hands to the floor behind you, touch your butt down, and then we reach. We're in a little ball here, feet floating up off the ground. Pull your knees into your chest, give yourself a little hug round your back. Now the rest of the class, we are just winding down, neutralizing, countering all that back bending. Place your feet down on the ground, bent knees, thinking about unfurling onto the back. That's word of the day today. And see if you can segment each and every single one of your vertebrae to touch down one at a time. So keeping that curl, that C-shaped spine, tuck, 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 slowly lower down. Oh, this is the hard bit for me, my lower back. Oh, nice. Slowly, each and every vertebrae, one at a time, until your head is on the ground. Excellent. Now, not thinking so much about back bends, but really thinking about strong hamstrings, strong glutes. Let's take what I like to call rainbow bridges. Hands down by the sides. Scoop your hips under. So think about pressing your lower back into the mat. Use your hamstrings, your glutes to lift the hips up off the floor, a little or a lot. I'm going to go a little because I'm thinking about just countering right now, opening through the front body, strengthening through the back body. As I do that, I make those rainbows with my fingertips, reaching them up to the ceiling and then up overhead. So my arms are doing rainbows, my legs are doing bridges, lowering down, lifting up, lowering down, lifting up, lowering down, butt to floor. Now you can rest your hips on a block. I'm going to rest my hips palms facing down on my hands and just extend the legs up into the air. Again, just thinking about lengthening the lower back, or you can just rest your hips on the ground if you like. If your knees want to bend, they can. And as we take this gentle inversion, you might like to gently rock the hips from side to side. And for me, I get this beautiful rolling massage from one side of the back of the pelvis to the other as you just rock. If you do have a shoulder stand in your practice and that's something you want to do, this is probably the time. But honestly, it's not really something that I ever teach online. But if it's something that you've learnt with a teacher, you're comfortable and safe doing. But honestly, I think I've said it before. If you give me the option between a shoulder stand and just sticking my legs up in the air, I will take legs up in the air every time. If you're in that shoulder stand, you can start to make your way out now. And then all together, we slowly meet up, drawing the knees into the chest. If you're coming out of a shoulder stand, take your time. There's no need to rush to catch up. And as you draw the knees to the chest, again, just keeping that gentle rocking from side to side, that beautiful massage. And release your right hand down beside you, T-shape or cactus arms is what I'm going to do so I don't hit the wall. And gently guide your knees over to the left, a gentle twist. I actually really enjoyed sequencing this class, and this class is a request. Someone requested backbends. And I love doing classes that I know you're keen for, I know you're going to be into. Gently guide knees back through center. Left hand comes out to that cactus or that T. Right hand can guide the knees over. And of course, any version of a supine twist is welcome. You're always welcome to ad lib a little
or expand on what I am sequencing or what I am teaching. Gently guide the knees through center. Give yourself a final little hug. You might like to go all in on this hug and really wrap your arms around your shins, pull your forehead or your chin to your knees. Get super tight. Release. Let's take bent knees, feet to the mat. Take your feet wider than your hips and then rest your knees on each other to come to constructive rest. Rest your hands somewhere on your torso just to feel your breath. We'll start to settle in for a moment of stillness. Now, as always, I encourage you to pause the video here and take a long Shavasana. So you might put on a song that works for you. You might set a timer or follow one of the guided Shavasanas that we have in our studio. But of course, if you would like to finish up this class with me, you can follow along. Start to soften your body and release any gripping or holding or tension. Release your control on the breath and just allow it to breathe itself. Inviting stillness of body, stillness of mind, and a passive breath. And for a moment, you are soft and you are still. And just allow the world to turn without you for a moment. Especially after a Vinyasa class, it is so beautiful to stop and encourage your body, your nervous system to chill out. Bring yourself back to a state of balance. And I like to think of this time in softness and stillness as a time where we can integrate everything that happened in that practice. So every movement that felt a little wobbly or felt hard, your body will integrate. And maybe it will feel a little bit easier the next time. Every thought or feeling that came up, every breath you took, let it integrate and let it settle. And let the potency of your practice nourish you. Now again, opportunity to pause right here and lay in stillness for a while longer. If you're finishing up with me, let's take a moment with a soft face and eyes closed or even half closed. Roll to one side. And taking your time, press your way up to a comfortable seat. Let's meet with the hands in front of the heart. Begin to rub the palms of the hands together. Build some energy and some heat between them. When your palms start to feel a little bit warm, place them over your eyes. Breathe in. Blink the eyes fully open as you breathe out. And bring your hands down into your lap. Thank you so much for practicing these back bends with me. A very backbendy class. As always, if you have any requests, comments, questions, we love hearing from you so much. So please reach out. I hope you have an excellent rest of your day today, and thank you so much again. We'll see you soon.